Welcome to the channel. In this short video, I'm going to tell you my sob story about what happened to my $2,000 Varjo Aero headset to render it effectively useless, and what you can do to avoid a similar outcome. If you saw my previous review on the Aero headset, linked above, you'll know that I weighed the pros and cons and came to the conclusion that although it was expensive, all in all, it really was the best VR clarity I'd seen on any headset. After several months with the headset, my impression hasn't changed all that much. Despite a few issues with the Varjo software, I had a pretty trouble-free experience with the headset, enjoying it. That is until a couple weeks ago. I was enjoying a sightseeing flight in VR using Microsoft Flight Simulator when my immersion was broken by the dreaded voice from above. I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about my wife standing on the stairs yelling for me to come. There was an emergency. I quickly exited Microsoft Flight Simulator, set down my headset, and headed up the stairs. After the spider was fully contained and destroyed, one thing led to another, and I never made it back to the basement that evening. The next evening, after dinner, when I again sought the reclusion of my basement simulation man cave, I was surprised to find the computer was still on. I was also surprised to see that my Varjo Aero seemed to be fully on and was displaying the image from the Varjo base software desktop that was visible, reflecting the images on my monitors. I have to admit I was a bit confused. All my previous VR headsets shut down the displays when they were idle for any length of time. My Oculus CV1 and Oculus Rift wouldn't even illuminate the displays until a head was in the proximity of the headset. Similarly, my Reverb G2 headset would go to sleep under Windows Mixed Reality if it sensed no movement for a fairly short period of time. I thought certainly a headset that cost 4 times as much would offer the same protection. As an aside, I had previously noticed that when I turned off my headset and computer, that the backlighting on the Aero appeared to still be lighted. The pixels on the display all seemed to be off, but you could see a gray glow when you looked through the lenses. From that point forward, it was my normal procedure when shutting down to depower the power strip that the Varjo Aero was plugged into to be sure that this glow didn't continue, because I didn't want to burn out the backlighting. Anyway, I figured the best approach was to shut down the computer and everything and get a fresh boot so I could do some simming that evening. As I put on the headset, I was shocked to see something I didn't expect. Besides the normal headset image, I could see a ghost image of the Varjo base desktop that had remained on my headset overnight. Evidently, the static image that had remained overnight had been burnt into the headset's LCD displays. This surprised me a little bit because I'd left LCD monitor screens on all night many times and never had such a problem. Even though the image was fairly faint, it was really difficult to unsee it once you saw it because the image did not move with the rest of the world as you moved your head. The relative motion made it very obvious and totally destroyed immersion. In my opinion, the headset was unusable for my purposes. So I tried to tell myself, no reason to panic. Let's give it a few days and maybe this situation will cure itself after the headset has a little chance to rest. So in the meantime, I decided to do a little research on my own and look into the fairly thin user information that's provided by Varjo for the Aero. First, I couldn't find any references in the documentation online that warned that it was important to remove power from the headset whenever it was not in use. Also, following the online support links for the Aero headset takes you to this page. When you click Varjo headsets and scroll down, you can see it talks about the error messages, headset LED buttons, which are obviously on the Aero. If you look at this, it looks like it applies. Green pulsing. The headset is idle and displays have been turned off. If it's a pulsing green, this happens automatically when the headset is not used for a while, and the headset will activate when you move it, and the LED light will turn green. So it seems that this isn't working. With this information, coupled with the fact that the backlighting appears to stay on when plugged into a dead computer and only the power brick being powered, the power adapter, made me think something's not working right. I decided to look a little bit online and see if anyone else was having this problem. So I found a few online posts that were having a similar problem. Here's one that I found. This poor guy, he says, I left my Aero on for a few days over a weekend and now I have permanent burn-in on the display. Varjo says they recommend shutting it off and it's my fault. Just blew 2K on this POS. Oh well, lesson learned. I know they say misery loves company, but this isn't the kind of company I was hoping to have. Fortunately, as I started to scroll down, I noticed something. His later post says, it looks like they're going to replace it. The initial response was, sorry buddy, but I pushed back. They seemed really reasonable. This gave me some hope that I might not be totally screwed. So by now it was 4 days later. The problem hadn't corrected itself. I hadn't really seen any difference in the amount of ghost imaging in the displays. So I decided it was time to get Varjo involved. I sent them an email clearly describing my situation and included information that I have shared with you here. So at this point, it's about a month since the Weekend Warriors post that I shared with you, who said that he was getting some results. And actually, the results that I got from Varjo were quite encouraging. They were very reasonable. They sent me back this letter saying that they were effectively acknowledging there was a problem, but they wanted me to send the headset into them. So I was given a mailing label and was able to send it at their expense to Helsinki. And they took a look at it and sent me this email, which they explained that they had observed the burn-in and that they would be sending a replacement to me. Now, so far I only have a promise, but if they deliver in a timely manner, I'll have to give them top marks for customer support. So if you're using a Varjo Aero, this should be a cautionary tale. Be careful about leaving that thing on, even if something unusual like a spider comes into the picture. Now, if you're thinking of buying a Varjo headset, I would say it looks like the customer service is reliable there, and it's definitely a great headset. I've really enjoyed using it. But having to send my Varjo headset away has caused me to get my Reverb G2 out, and that's reminded me what an awesome headset that is too. In fact, I'd say for the average user, you really can't beat it. It's so much easier to set up than the Varjo because the tracking is inside out. The resolution, while not as good as the Varjo, is very good. I'd say you get about 80% of the way there for about 1/5 the price. So I wouldn't hesitate. If you're thinking about VR flying and you haven't already been involved, don't hesitate any longer. Get involved now because it's like anything. You can wait forever, but you're going to be missing out. And I think you're going to find when you finally get under that headset that it's absolutely the best way to sim. I did post a video about the G2 Reverb from Hewlett-Packard, and I'll link that above. Feel free to subscribe if you like my videos. I think only about 30% of the viewers actually are subscribed. I love your comments. You can click the notification bell if you'd like to know when I post another video. And be sure to share with your friends. Hope to see you again soon on my next video.